to divine connection.
Divine connections are those associations or relationships that God has preordained for us. God uses these relationships, or these priceless relationships, should I say, to direct us to our purpose and destiny. Let's start the show.
Good evening, and thank you everyone for joining us for another episode of Divine Connections. We have a super packed show today with some amazing guests. I also want to extend this warm welcome to our listeners on WJWW. Thank you for joining us as well. So this is a new season. We have two brand new hosts. I'd like to also introduce them. I have Adrian Love. Hey, Adrian.
Hey.
And also Cheryl-Lynn Eppinger. Hey,
hello,
Cheryl.
everyone. Hello. Sorry, I jumped the gun there. I'm so excited. Hello.
And Miss Tenora Edwards will be joining us for our future shows as well. So, Adrian, and by the way, I'm your host as well, Katrina Deal-McCall. So, Adrian, can you go ahead and tell us who is on our panel of guests today?
Yes, we have awesome men that's on our panel today. So the first one we have is Floyd. Then we have Ronnie, Holman, and we also have Maurice Martin with us today. So we're very excited about
that. We are so excited to have you. Now, Cheryl-Lynn, I want you to go ahead and get them warmed up for us.
Yes. All right. Well, I've been able to get a little preview and look over some of these wonderful works that these men have done, but yes, I want to hear it straight from them. So we're going to start with Mr. Ronnie Holman. If you would just take a couple of moments and just tell the people who you are, a little bit about yourself, and some of the wonderful things that you are doing.
Yes.
Okay. My name is Ronnie Holman, and I am a graduate of Cleveland State University. I have my bachelor's degree in journalism and promotional communication. I write part-time for sports for Cleveland.com. I am also a professional musician, I say drummer, but I also am a playwright. I have done 5 incredible stage plays here in Cleveland, Ohio. Nice. I did tour one of my hit plays that I premiered downtown at Playhouse Square, sold out, and then took it on tour. Nice. I'm also a screenwriter. I write film and things like that. I am a coach. I am an author. There's just quite a bit that I do.
That's so awesome.
Nice.
Yes,
I love that I am. That I am is so strong when you say I am. And shameless plug, I'm a little bit of a thespian myself. So if you're looking for a brown-skinned girl, let me know. Okay. Next we have Mr. Jay Floyd. Jay Floyd, would you please tell the people a little bit about who you are and some of the wonderful works that you are doing?
Well, I am a father and husband, man of God, a mentor to young adults. I'm an author 3 times over, life coach, podcaster, host of the Big Bro podcast, to be a big brother voice for the younger generations out there. And also recently actor. My first movie is actually debuting at the Greater Cleveland Urban Film Festival this coming week. So it's called A State of Mind, and everybody should go check it out.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. Now listen, don't limit that big brother, because I know a lot of grown people that need a big brother. Okay, so I might have to kick you some 20 and 30-year-olds if that's okay.
Yes.
Absolutely. Send them all.
Awesome. And coming around third, we have Mr. Maurice Martin.
Yes.
Mr. Martin. We're not gonna say the best for last. We're gonna say, to sum it all up and bring it together, would you please tell us who you are and give us a little bit about what the great things that you are doing?
Absolutely. So Maurice Martin, similar to these guys, I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a counselor, a life coach. I actually am a social media consultant as well, which is one of my newer titles, an author, and just kind of a little bit of everything, just trying to do what I can to just lift up the kingdom, make a difference. I'm also a husband, a father, and so just a person who's always looking to learn and just be a blessing for people.
That is so
Yes.
awesome. Now, ladies,
Yes.
help me give these men a big welcome.
Come
And you
on.
that are watching,
Yes.
wherever you are listening,
The
give these
plate
men a
is
big
full.
welcome to Divine
Yes.
Connections. Let's give them
Welcome.
they kick
Much
that back right
appreciated.
over
Much
to you so
appreciated.
we can continue
Thank
the show.
you.
Yes. Well, you know what? We're going to start with double back onto Mr. J. Floyd. I want to hear a little more about this Big Bro podcast. So tell me how that came about. What was the divine connection? What gave you that divine direction to do this podcast?
Well, it's to make a long story short. Everything I have is a long story, but my life kind of played out in that I had an older brother who was 4 years older than me. Growing up, we had some really rough circumstances. He ended up being a victim of the streets. He was murdered when he was 19. I was 16, and that was a rough time for me. And I struggled with that for a long time, all the way into my 30s, and then finally piecing my life back together, going to a therapist and getting a mentor and my pastor and piecing all those to understand that I had post-traumatic stress disorder. I was able to bundle all of that and start writing books and mentoring people who were going through similar things. So my first book is called The Poet Who Watched the Whole Parade, and it's my life story. I talk a lot about my brother, my mom, my dad, my grandma, my uncle, all people who passed away, just to let them live one more time. And I got so much great feedback from that. I began a ministry at my church of speaking to young adults and life coaching. And I found myself in my coaching and in my ministry saying the same story a lot, right, of helping people get back on track. And I started to sound like my own big brother, right? The things that he showed me, because to be honest, he is the only reason I didn't fall victim to the streets. He was the one who kept me out of that, right? So I wanted to be that voice. So when I became a podcaster and radio host, I started to realize, okay, how do people see me? How do people view me? And all of the young cats I talk to, I call them my young lions. All of my young lions out there call me Big Bro.
Nice.
So, and I spoke to a good friend of mine, Minister Myron Davis, and he told me the story about how when he was growing up, him and his brother were raised by a single mom as well, and his mother would play certain ministers on the radio just so they could have a male voice play in the house.
Yes.
Because there was no other male voice to be heard. So she would find ministers with the right message and just play them all day, so there was a male voice bouncing off the walls. And it dawned on me that for a lot of people I know, I'm the only male voice that they're hearing. So I decided to fully embody that and just embrace that and make that my message in my podcast.
Yes, nice.
Yes, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, Mr. Holman, Ronnie Holman, I want you to give the people a little more information. What inspired you to make film and your movies and your plays, which are we're going to say they're all sold out all the time. Let's just say that.
Yes.
So what inspired you? Was there a divine connection there that started you on your way to make film? Tell us a little more about that.
Well, my divine connection was myself, just my environment, where I come from, where I was raised, born and raised, down on the rough side of Cleveland, Ohio, not East Cleveland, but the east side of Cleveland, 79th and Superior. That's where I was born and raised, which if you're a resident of Cleveland, you know that is probably one of the most dangerous places, in the city of Cleveland. And just coming out my front door and seeing drugs, being sold in front of your front door, and it became a part of your norm, not something that you see and you walk away from. We just had to keep playing like normal. And just all of my circumstances, I didn't have a positive male figure in my life growing up. It was just me, my two sisters. I have two older brothers, but my two older brothers really didn't live, in the house. My brother just under me, he was raised by his father until his father, passed away. And my oldest brother was in the streets, you know, selling drugs, drinking, smoking weed. So my mom, you know, was putting him out the house quite a bit. So it was just me. I end up being, to go back to Jay, I end up being that big bro to my sisters, not just, you know, biologically, but I really had to embody that, being the middle child of my mother. So I became the big brother to my younger sisters and also my older brother, if you really want to know the truth. Yeah. So just going to school, nobody in my family, in my immediate family, having a college education or anything like that. I end up having to do it backwards because I have my oldest daughter at a young age, at 22 years old. So I end up having to go backwards and being married and a failed marriage. So I end up going to college later, graduating from college, and, you know, just on that journalism track, we had to take theater classes, we have to take film classes and things like that, just from a writer's perspective. And I said, you know what, my mom writes plays and things like that, so let me try to do some of the things that she did. And I wrote a script, gave it to one of my professors who was an equity actor professional down at Playhouse Square, for him to look it over, and he gave it back. He didn't even go through the whole script. He gave it back full of red ink, you know, saying I had a lot of work to do. So that inspired me to go back to the drawing board with just the small pointers that he gave me. He gave me those pointers, and I came back, I gave it to him. He said, this is about 85% good. And that was enough for me to go ahead and move into, you know, what I thought and what I believe and what I know is my passion, which is writing plays. So again, like I said, I've done 5 stage plays, and all have been sold out, except with the exception of my last stage play that I did, but all have been sold out. I did 1 short film, which I shopped around the country to be in film festivals. And currently I'm working on another short and a full-length feature film coming away soon. So.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yes.
Yes. And then Maurice Martin. Now it's so I love the fact that or love when I hear that our people are stepping up to be life coaches for other people. And I always wonder, where did that come from? Was that just like a calling one day? You say, you know what, I've been so through a lot of things in my life, and you know, I want to coach someone along to get to where I am. So tell us a little bit about how that came about. Was there someone that inspired you to move into this? Was someone a coach to you? So yeah, tell us a little more about that.
Sure. Yeah, it's definitely been a journey. So, you know, childhood, you know, sometimes we have a voice or a record that kind of plays over and over again in our mind. And sometimes it's the good things that we heard, and it's the voices of wisdom and reason. But sometimes it's the voice of doubt, negativity, and all that. I grew up in a household where it was not always positive. It was not always good. And so by the time I got to college and then got into my early 20s, I found that I started to become successful as an individual, but I was angry. So it was always about proving everybody wrong, and I'll show them. And sometimes, unfortunately, that kind of fire can set you on fire in the wrong way.
Yes.
From the inside out, I felt like I began to kind of implode. And so by the time I got to my late 20s, I was actually a professional musician, opened up for a lot of big groups, Earth, Wind & Fire, Lupe Fiasco, a bunch of other people in the band that I used to play in. But I was just angry, frustrated, heartbroken all the time. So by the time I got to, not long ago at all, actually, 2015, my first of my brothers passed away. 2016, my second brother passed away. And in between those 2 deaths, I always have what I call my spiritual revelation. I started having a conversation with God, or God as I understood him, like, are you real or not? And if you are, you need to give me some direction.
Yes.
Come on.
That was the real conversation. And there's some things that I said in that conversation I can't repeat on the camera.
Between you and God. It's between
it's between us.
That's right.
Fortunately, I didn't get struck down in those moments. But I always say that, honestly, I had a vision, like flash in front of me. And it was me in a totally different life than I was living at that point. I was drinking and high every day, and my life literally in a moment transformed. And I went from depression, heartbreak, frustration to suddenly I became a counselor. I started coaching people, and my life became more about trying to say, you know, how does my passion meet my purpose? So now everything that I do is intentional. So, you know, I've really embraced the fact that there are things I'm good at, there are things I'm great at, but they all work together. And sometimes we put ourselves into a box. When we start to embrace the comma, then our lives can get better. I'm this and this and this, and it's all okay. And so what I try to do now is to work with people and let them know, look, whatever the combination that you are, whatever you bring to the table, you have to embrace it. You have to embody it, and you have to figure out how you can let even your weaknesses become your strengths, so you can evolve and become who you're meant to be. So it's been a journey, but it's been a beautiful journey. I haven't always enjoyed it in the midst of it.
All a part of the process.
All a part of the process.
You have to take it all angles, however it comes, because it shapes you.
That's exactly
So Maurice, I heard you do a little singing too, huh?
I sang a little singing.
You sang or you sing?
I sang a little bit.
You sang a little
bit.
Yo, he got a new song out. I just heard it.
Can we hear a little bit of it?
Can we just hear a little
Don't put a brother on the spot.
Just the title.
But now, Jay, which one did you hear? I technically got two, but they're both like under wraps, so I don't know how you even heard one.
I know, right? I just caught on social media. I caught the release of one. You were featured on it. Another dude was rapping.
Oh, so Lifting?
It was Lifting, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So I actually just got together with a group called Sound of His Will, a Christian hip hop group. And we did, so they hit me up. They said, hey, you know, we kind of want to get you on a track. We have a song. We think it's for you. So it was just a track. And I called them back within 10 minutes. All right, I got the hook. You guys ready to write?
Okay,
so
all right.
We just launched it. I don't know about singing it right now, but I can get you the clip and it can play.
Well, this is Divine Connections. This is raw and uncut. You have to give it. You got to give us a little snippet.
Okay, I'll give you the chorus.
All right, that works.
We'll take that.
All right, so the chorus is lifting, lifting, lifting the hands of praise, lifting, lifting, lifting the hands of praise.
Yes. Now,
you know, I just heard a message not too long ago about lifting your hands and surrendering in praise. And it just brings me to think, you know, the acknowledgement of what we're doing, right? We're acknowledging God. And one thing that all three of you all acknowledge your circumstance, acknowledge the position that you were in, and made a decision to change it, to fix it, whether it be therapy or writing, which is in its own a sense of therapy. So I do want a question for everyone. How important was the acknowledgement of, hey, this is what's happening in my life. This is what's going on. How do I move forward to be better? Because, you know, single parent home, now you all are husbands and fathers. How important was that acknowledgement point in your life?
Yes.
Well, I know for me, it was huge. It was everything, you know. My most recent book is called The Driver's Seat for that exact reason. You know, it's all about, you know, so many of us, and I can speak for myself and a lot of people that I've counseled and mentored, we get stuck in a delayed adolescence as men. You know, when you're a child as a man, you go to adolescence and then you're supposed to transition into manhood. And the only difference from adolescent to man is that you know that there's things you have to do, whether you want to do them or not. And when you're in a position where you're not given the right tools and the right building blocks and you're not shown the right model, then you will be missing that and you'll be stuck in adolescence. I don't care if you're 60 years old. There's a lot of 60-year-old adolescents out here right now.
Yes.
Come on.
You know,
Yes.
so for me, it was a matter of taking a look back and saying, okay, these things happened to me, not to use them as an excuse, but to trace the line back to say, okay, this is how it's also showing up in my life right now.
Mhm.
I'm having a hard, like Ronnie talked about, I was not in a failed marriage, but I was in a failed relationship that included a child.
Yeah.
For me, that was the wake-up call.
Yes.
That was my absolute wake-up call, because I saw my own life replaying the things that my parents went through were replaying in my life. So I knew, let me find out what happened to me, how it's still affecting me. Why am I having trouble with relationships? Why do I struggle with honesty? Why do I struggle with these things?
That's
How
good.
did the past hurt me? And how am I still dragging that past around?
That's good.
And how
That's
can I
good.
get rid of it? Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So that acknowledgement for me was everything, because
Yes.
you know, so many of us don't realize we're not okay.
Come on.
It's
That's good.
okay to say you're not okay.
That's
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And the day that I said something's wrong with me and I got to figure out what it is, that was the greatest day of my life.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. That's
Amen.
awesome. Yeah,
Well,
that's awesome.
Well, for me,
Mhm.
mine is a little different, because I've always thought, even going into adulthood as a man, that I was always optimistic, as I am now. I was always optimistic that things were going to change and that things were going to be better. And I didn't think that they would get better just based off of things that I would do. I thought just everything around me was going to get better, and it didn't. It didn't. So after growing, getting a little older, and then, as I said, having my oldest daughter, I realized that I had to make things better, and I had to be better for my daughter than the things that I grew up around was for me. You know, growing up without my father there, and not because he was dead or because he lived far away, but because he just was absent. You know, I could have used that for a crutch. All the hurt and the pain that people has caused me throughout my childhood and as an adult, I could have used that and been bitter with those people, but I didn't. You know, instead I just said, hey, all the things that they said that I wasn't gonna be, I'm gonna be.
That's good.
And that's what pushed me and made me strive to continue to be the great person that I'm trying to be. And not just because I want to be that, because I definitely want to leave a legacy for my children, and I just want to leave a legacy for the people who are in my circle, who I am in close contact with,
That's
people
good.
that I share things with on a daily basis. I want to leave a legacy with them to know that Ronnie is a hard worker.
Yes.
He's trying to set an avenue for this and set an avenue for that. And that's my day-to-day walk.
That's good.
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah, in a similar way, you know, I love when Ronnie said the word legacy.
Yes.
I think every person, you get to a point where you start thinking so much about your legacy.
Yeah.
It's hard to know how you're going to get where you want to go if you won't open up your eyes to see where you are right now.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a power in perspective. If I can't be honest enough to acknowledge who I am, how I am, where I am in this moment, how can I heal, grow, mature, change, do all the things I need to do to go get to that final destination that I'm shooting? When I was willing to say, okay, I got some good, I got some bad, I have to be able to accept it all. That's really when my life changed. I'm actually writing a book right now called Embrace. And there's this concept of it's really hard to fix what you won't hold. Right? And so it's also sometimes when you refuse to hold something, it holds on to you. And so if you have, you know, the depression, the anxiety, the whatever you're battling through, if you won't grab hold of it and acknowledge it and see it and accept that it's there, how can you heal from it?
Yes.
You know, instead it's just leeching on you. So yeah.
That's good.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Good.
I wanted to ask too, because you men are very outspoken and you have a lot in common that, you know, Dad's wasn't there, and you could have used that as a clutch, as you said, Ronnie, but you didn't. So for the much younger adult or male adult population right now, what kind of things can you can share right now to encourage them to change their situation? Because it's one of those things that every generation is still fathers are absent. And maybe one day, there'll be more, men in the home, but we know there's so many other things that causes that to be the way they are. But what can you encourage them in this moment right now? Dad is not there, and if there's not a big brother there, but you just never know where this broadcast will be. Something that someone will hear to encourage, or a young male will hear to encourage them to move forward or do better in their circumstance. So let's start with you, Ronnie. Well, what would you share to just a young male adult?
Well, for me, it really is simple for me. I myself have also a mentor. I've been a mentor for a long time, being a basketball coach, football coach, and I do have my own young men mentorship program from ages 10 to 18. So what I tell them all the time is just what I know. All I know is to make your story your inspiration. If you want a better life, if you want to get out the situation that you're in, inspire yourself. Let that inspire you to be great. Let that inspire you to move forward. Let that inspire you to have the things that it is that you want, because you can get it. Everybody isn't blessed enough to make it to the pros, to be a pro athlete or a pro football player, or like my man Maurice, to be an artist, to be able to tour and open up for national artists and things like that. Everybody is not blessed to be able to do that.
Yes.
So what you have to do, you have to pave your path, your own path, and grow from it. Because it's easy to sit in that. It's easy to sit on it and let it sit on you. And if you don't want it to sit on you and you don't want to sit on it, then you have to make a move to be different. So I always encourage them to, like I said, make your story your inspiration. If your story is bad, like a lot of the brothers tell me all the time, and if it doesn't motivate you to want to be greater and do better, then I don't know what else is going to help you.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm. And what about you, Jay?
I would, to any young man watching this, for one, I would say, I love you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Keep, I am you.
Yeah.
No matter what your life circumstance is, please
Good.
understand that we've all felt it. We've all been there. Nobody is elevated above anybody else, man. We're all just here trying to live life. We're all God's children, man. So I would say, number one, feel your emotion, but don't obey it.
That's good there.
Feel what you feel, man. Everybody has a different experience, man. There's people that have been abused or molested, or there's people that have been through some serious trials. So my number one thing is, man, you gotta feel that. The world tells you as a man, don't process your emotions. But can you imagine if you ate food every day and never processed it out of your body?
Come on, that's good.
All right.
So I would say, feel your emotions, man. If you gotta cry.
Yes.
Your body drops tears out of its face for a reason.
Yes.
You built like that for a reason. Let it out. Get past it.
Yeah.
And once you passed it, then you can start seeing where that greatness is. You can start seeing the purpose because all the pain has a purpose. Everything I've been through has a purpose. But I had to process it first and let God see what God was trying to show me before I could see the purpose of it. I couldn't just, but the problem is this world. This world is lying to us. It's telling us, don't feel it. You good. Keep going. No.
Right.
We hurt, man.
Yeah.
God told Adam, everywhere your foot goes, there will be thorns. We feeling thorns, man.
Yes.
Feel it. Tell the people around you. Always, number one, if you're a young dude right now, if you know somebody that asks you how you doing, tell them.
Yes.
That's my number one piece of advice. Tell them, because you never know how they could bless you.
Good stuff,
Yes.
Jay.
Yes, that's good.
I don't know where I
good.
need to send my donation. Y'all might need to drop y'all cash app. For me, okay? I got my notes over here.
Yes.
Don't drop your cash app. I'm gonna pay you for you.
Yes. Yes.
Right now.
And when I say powerful men, powerful men, transparent men, anointed men. That is awesome. That's awesome. That's amazing. Like, I mean, proud to have this divine connection with each and every one of you.
Yes. Amen. Amen.
It's an honor. It's an honor.
Yes. And then Maurice, want to turn it over to you too, for that young adult encouragement and uplifting. What do you have to give them an offer on?
It's really important that you grow through what you go through in your life.
Yeah.
Sometimes we go through stuff, right? I mean, we all, no matter who you are, you're going through hard times sometimes, you're going through dark moments sometimes. Now, we'll do a good job of faking it in front of other people, but when it's you yourself, at some point you have to sit down and acknowledge and deal with the fact that life is hard.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to do that, those things don't go away, they just sit with you. And, I like to describe it as, at first you got luggage that you carry in your hands, but eventually you start to get more sophisticated and you end up with luggage with wheels. And you carry your baggage with you everywhere you go. And unless you hit a hiccup in the road, you don't even notice it. That stuff it catches up with you. So my biggest thing is, if you're going through something in your life, if there's some feelings that you have that you don't understand or you don't appreciate or whatever it might be, you have to deal with it to grow from it. Sometimes we think that our story, Ronnie was talking earlier about what your story is. If you believe that your story's already been written about you, you will then play a victim far before you are one.
Yeah.
But if you let this be, hey, like this is early in the story. I'm in early chapters. The greatest stories in the world are the ones where they start off rough. Think about your favorite movie. Every good movie, the main character fails, right? Early in the movie. And triumph. So for a young person, I don't care if you're 10, if you're 16, what you're going through right now can be the very thing that you need to grow you into your destiny, grow you into your purpose. You're not going to know how right now. You just have to know that whatever you're going through, it can be used for your good. And sometimes you got to put scripture on it. All things work together for the good.
Amen.
And it's been amazing for me as a counselor, as a life coach, as a speaker, how many times later on in life I sat in front of old me. When I was 16, I wasn't sure why it is that my stepdaddy didn't care about me, or why it is that I'm crying myself to sleep at night in secret. But then all of a sudden I'm 35 and I'm standing in front of old me saying, wow, because I went through that, I know what to say. So if you heal, if you really deal with stuff, don't be afraid. This is a big thing for men, for our community of Black men in particular. Don't be afraid to go to a therapist or a counselor. Sometimes you need to go to just an objective person who will sit and listen to you and give you some perspective. But I just think it's so imperative that you understand that your story has not been written. So heal now so you can find out what good can come from the hard things you're dealing with right now.
That's good.
Maurice, I'm so glad that you have brought up the fact that don't be afraid to reach out or go to a counselor. That's so super important. And it's still taboo for the Black community to reach out. You have to be crazy or you have to be this if you want to seek therapy. And therapy is a good thing. It's a good thing. It really is. Adrian, you had something to add to that?
If I had to ask any of you any questions, so for those who cannot hear the voice of God, because I know a few of you guys have said, that you heard the voice of God or you had a revelation. So for those who couldn't hear the voice of God, what would you give them? What would you tell them to know that it's time to do different or time to change or time to be, different from what they were what would you give them if they don't know the voice of God?
I would start off by saying, hearing God is scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes we're like, you need to want to look. Well, sometimes you hear God and you don't like what you hear.
Come on.
That's the truth. Okay. So I would say, if you really want to hear God in your life, first of all, it's okay to acknowledge that it's a little bit intimidating. From there, I would say I lean on that scripture, seek and ye shall find, ask and it will be answered, knock and the door will be open. There's a version that says, ask and keep on asking. Knock and keep on knocking. I always think about that version. If you really want to hear God and you go back enough times and you hit your knees and you say, look, I'm lost. I need some direction.
Yes.
A phone call from I don't know why, but I felt like I needed to call you to tell you that. You can hear a song on the radio. God so many different types of ways. Everybody always hears the still small voice. That doesn't mean he's not speaking, but you may not hear him. What is it? Like, we don't all hear God the same way. I found out later in life that I was prophetic, that I have dreams and all kinds of stuff. That made it worse. Okay. Now I have to do something. And sometimes people are a little scared of the fact that if I was to really hear God, I would have to do something. So that's a little bit complicated.
That's God will remind you too, like, you wanted this. This is what you asked for. You better obey right now.
That was good. Same questions for you too, Jay and Ronnie.
I would say, for one, a lot of people who, thinking back to me, I went 36 years before I really knew God. And I know a lot of people who don't know God aren't looking for him. So you can't really say here's where to find him because they're not looking for him. So for me, when I speak to people, I just want to be who I am meant to be for them. Right? I want to be a big brother for them. I want to love on them. That's why my first message earlier is I love you. Because number one, I think black men don't say that enough to each other. All three words, not to drop the I off, not to love you. No, I love you. And I'm going to show up for you. I value you. Because to me, that's the way that, when I look at what Jesus did to people he met, Jesus was constantly meeting sinners. He was constantly meeting people who were not looking for God. Not all of them were looking for God. Right? But the thing that he didn't say, follow this, do this. He loved them.
That's
and they walked away knowing what love felt like. That's the only thing that I try to do. It's like, not everybody you run into is going to be seeking God, but if you can be, sometimes you may be the only thing that shows them what God's love looks like.
Come on. That's good. That's good.
So I just try to love on them. They may come to Jesus after talking to me. They may not. They may come to Jesus 10 years from now, but I bet you when they do, they'll be like, man, 10 years ago, I met a dude who was saying this, that, and the third. He showed me some love.
That's good. That's good.
Well, for me, I know a lot of people don't, they have their reasons for not believing in Christ and things like that. So just as Jay just said, I try to let my light shine. I try to show my walk and not saying that it's not good for me to be transparent and show a bad side. Yes, I definitely want to show that we have bad days too, because a lot of people think that Christians, we're supposed to be perfect. We're supposed to be happy all the time and all that. And I try to just show them like what a Christian looks like. We're real. We're real. We're just like you. Just because we're Christians, it don't make us better than you. What it means we have a relationship with somebody that you should have a relationship with, but it doesn't make us better than you. So the thing is that I try to do is I try to let my light shine. And I definitely just tell them like, hey, it's okay to have a transparent moment, to be broken down, as we were talking about earlier, as far as the tears and things like that. Tears are therapeutic. Tears are very therapeutic. When those tears are running down your face, again, as Jay said, they're running down your face for a reason. So if they're running down your face for a reason, that's all them burdens being washed away. So it's okay to cry and things like that. And don't be afraid don't be afraid to become a part of the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? It's a good place. It's a good place for you. And it's not nothing like for example, Bird Box, that movie that was a hit, you know, probably like a year or two ago that everybody watched on Netflix. You know, when people were seeing stuff, even though we weren't able to see it, people were seeing stuff and they were like, oh my God, I'm walking into that kingdom. That's how it should be. And people should feel that way just by our walk as kingdom men and kingdom women. The way we walk, people should want to come and be a part of the kingdom.
That's good. That's good there. That's good.
Yes.
That's
and
good.
You have something to add as well? Sherilyn?
No, you know, I had another question if that was okay.
Yes.
Okay, so gentlemen, and anyone could jump out there first, but how do you cope? How do you keep it all together? Manage and maintain. You know, you're so giving of yourself. You empty yourselves out. You get your husbands, your fathers, business, entrepreneurs, so many, you know, being a therapist. What steps or tools do you all use to help keep you grounded, keep you, you know, your mind straight, your eyes focused on God, and just to give you a breather?
That's a good question. That's good.
For me, it's prayer. It's prayer. And I use my tool to write. You know, me writing, even though things don't come together, when I start writing something, they will come together at some point. You know, if I write something today because of something that I'm dealing with, I'll write something tomorrow, and I may write something a month from now. But whatever I write from a month from now and what I wrote yesterday may end up coming together, and I may not even intended for it to come together that way. So just constantly praying, writing, and also spending time with my babies. That gives me life, you know, because again, I just want to continue to give them what it is that I didn't have. And sometimes, you know, I get that, you know, they act spoiled sometimes, and I know they're acting spoiled because they're used to not having a father. Not used to being without a father. Only thing they know is me being there, so they don't know how it is. They don't know how it is to be without one. So sometimes I tell them, I'm gonna disappear for about a month and see how y'all act. You know, but for the most part, just doing that, you know, that's what brings me joy and brings me life, and that's what enables me to cope. And I'm just now starting as a 42-year-old man, learning how to keep that negative energy away. You know, because at first I just used to vibe because it's just me, friendly Ronnie. I love everybody. But now I just want to be, I try to keep the negative energy away, and it is.
Yes.
Well, I know for me, you know, I try to focus in, and, you know, it's really hard when you get caught up in the world, right? You get distracted by the world. So I try to make sure, number one, kind of like Maurice said, I got to know that I am distracted. So every day I remind myself, because I'm human, I'm distracted. Let me get back, right? So I try to do a daily routine, what I call the Adam model, right? Where I'm constantly getting back to what Adam was. Adam could talk to God. You know, Adam had a relationship where he talked directly to God. So I try to talk to God first. And then God blessed Adam with a wife, and his job was to constantly talk to her. So one of the things that I learned in going into marriage, which helped me greatly throughout my life, is to be completely 100% honest with my wife, and learning the definition of honesty, right? Learning that omitting things is lying by omission, right? So I tell my wife everything I'm feeling, everything I'm going through, every single thing, even if every negative feeling, every positive feeling, so that we can always be on the same page.
Because
if I don't tell her, I get behind the 8 ball, and she can't be the helper. She can't be that helpmate that God created her to be. If I'm going through 5 things that I don't explain to her, she can't understand and be there. So I'm constantly letting her know, like, she knows I have PTSD. Okay, what does that look like? She don't have it. So I got to explain to her what that feels like. You know, I can't just hold it in, although I'm tempted to, because I'm human. I'm tempted to experience things and be like, I'm a man, I don't need to say it. But I translate that back into what God is telling me, that I'm a man that's been so blessed
Come on.
to have a wife with me. I have to tell her.
Yes.
Yes.
I have to, right?
Right.
That's the way you make it work. And I think my last thing is mentors, man. I believe fully in mentorship. I have multiple mentors that have been through everything that I'm going through and more, man. And I can always reach out to them, talk to them. And also I have mentees, and that helps me grow too. And I think that's the biggest thing that people can learn. When you're mentoring somebody, it's helping you.
Yeah.
You're growing too. So sometimes I reach out to my younger dudes, like, you may not understand what this is like, but let me tell you what I'm going through.
Yeah.
Tell you what it's feeling like. They may not know, but in 15 years, they may be like, man, this is what Jay was talking about.
Yeah.
So, you know, keeping that chain going, it helps me, having those mentors and things like that.
That's good. That's good.
To bounce off of what Jay just said, the greatest teacher that I ever had when it comes to learning how to slow down and learning how to really take care of myself was becoming a counselor. A coach. You sit in front of people and you know all the right things to tell them, and you're like, I ain't doing none of that.
Come on.
So true.
And that's the honest truth. And so I'm learning in the present moment how to slow down. How to become intentional with my day. How to try to have some gratitude in my morning. I try to have every morning, no matter how I'm feeling, what am I thankful for? Can I infuse that into my prayers? Like not just fake prayers just to like say, hey God, you still there? I'm here too. But like, nah. What do I feel? What is missing? What am I grateful for that's here and present? Just that sort of stuff has really helped me a whole lot. I have a squad. When you're younger, you got a crew, and your crew is like the people you're going to go chase women with, right? Now my crew is people who I go chase God with. I got people I text, bruh, I need you to pray for me right now. Sometimes Jay is one of those people. Okay, like, I'm tripping. I'm not even going to tell you what's going on. But pray for it because I'm going through it. But like, I literally realigned my squad. And part of the reason for that is that sometimes when you're feeling empty, you have to know who will speak into your life.
That's good.
You have to know who knows you, who knows how you translate information and all that, who can say something that you'll really listen to. So I too have mentors and mentees. My wife is huge. You know, I used to be the type of person, I didn't want to put weight on her. Right? So I would be like, you know, we'll talk about it once I get it figured out. I had to learn how to start saying, okay, I'm tripping. And I'm going to sound real cuckoo crazy when I just explain to you what I feel. But maybe you can help me see what I'm not seeing yet. And I think it's important for us to talk about these things too, because when you see people and we have titles and we have accolades and we've done stuff, we always give off. We never doubt ourselves. We never quit. We never have bad days. We're always great. If you see me in public, I promise you, I'm gonna look like $1 million. Okay. I'm one of the hosts for the Word Church on TV now. So I'm on TV like 5 days a week, smiling in the camera. Sometimes I leave the camera and I'm like, oh, my day today, Lord Jesus. So it is important to just admit, like, no, you can't just pour into everybody else and never have something poured into you.
Come on, that's good.
That's
good.
Sometimes I listen to motivational speeches. I try to do books on tape. I'm not a huge reader, so I do a lot of books on tape. I watch sermons. I do whatever I can do to get positivity poured in. And I'm intentional about it. And I can't. It's as important as drinking water and eating food. I need some positivity. I need some prayer. If I don't do that stuff intentionally, is what Jay said earlier, I'm distracted. So
that's good.
Yeah, that's all. That's good.
That's good.
I love that. I love that word, intentional.
Yes. Just listening to all of you, I was just going to say, Ronnie, I said, hey, for your next playwright, look, you have Maurice, singer. You have Jay, just got into actor. Hey, this is already a divine connection. You look somewhere else for auditions. I hope you write down, taking notes.
You know
That's
what,
Sherilyn
Katrina?
with 2 N's. Sherilyn with 2
Right.
N's. It's right on your screen. You can spell it correctly. There it is.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's so crazy that you said that, because when we talk about divine connection, like to Maurice's point, I do know Maurice and I communicate with him and I call that man a brother. And Ronnie, I'm already familiar with seeing his stuff out here, but then he just talked about something earlier that he's from 79th and Superior. And I'm from 79th and Superior too. That's part of where I grew up at.
That's
So yeah, shout out. I was right there on Lockyer, man. So that's what's up, man.
On that end.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Up, man. Did you go to
It's a
East High?
divine connection.
I didn't. I was young back then when we were there. By the time I was like 10, we moved out.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And then not only that, Jay, we're connected definitely through the the lounge with the podcast and things like that. You know, with Pastor Clarence, my podcast is there.
Oh yeah, that's right.
GP
We all
podcast.
both signed to the podcast lounge. Yes.
Yeah. So that's
Nice.
something else. That's something else that I do as well. Just a podcast. It's called 1GP because it's general purpose. It's just my journalism background, and I just try to capture and put out there whatever is going on, the latest things that's going on in our communities, the things that we see on TV, and just have some guests on and talk about it.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
That's
now
awesome.
we are just about close to that hour, but before we go, I'd like to leave the viewers with a word of encouragement. So we're going to just go down the line here. Maurice, we're going to start with you. Leave the viewers with a word of encouragement.
Word of encouragement. You're here for a reason. You're here for a reason.
Yes.
And by here, I mean on earth, and I mean in the place that you're in your life.
Yes.
So whatever the phase that you're in, whatever you're going through, whatever you're dealing with, whatever your trials, your tribulations, you're here for a reason. You will either grow from it, learn from it, and embrace the fact that you still have breath in your lungs, or you'll waste this moment. It is important for us to remember always, all three guys talked about losing somebody close to them in life, right?
Yeah.
Death is a natural part of life. And so the fact that you are alive to be watching this video, that means you're blessed.
Yes.
That means that breath is a gift.
Yes.
Wherever you're at in your life, embrace this moment, learn from this moment, grind in this moment, wake up in this moment. Like wake up, stop sleepwalking, wake up, feel the pain, feel the pleasure, feel all of it, and then ask myself, what do I need to do today? What's the next right thing for me to walk more upright, more holy, more healthy towards my dreams and my destiny? Just embrace this moment that you have.
Yeah, that's good.
That's so good.
That's good.
So good. And Ronnie?
For me, transparency is your key to your out.
Yes.
That's
Being
good.
transparent is your key to your out. And
Yes.
Christ left footprints there for a reason. He left them
Come
there
on.
for us to follow. So
Yes.
follow those footprints, and you won't go wrong.
That's good. That's good.
Good there.
Yes. And Jay?
You know, to all of my lions out there, man, I would tell y'all, number one, keep your chest out, your chin up.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
you got to hold the posture, right?
Yeah.
It changes the way you approach things, right?
Yeah.
I know life is hard. I know you're stepping on thorns. I know you're under pressure. But that just means that you walk in life as a man.
Yes.
That's the way it is. You're going to always be under pressure. So the best thing you could do is embrace the pressure.
Yes.
Embrace it, right? They say pressure busts pipes.
Come
Well,
on.
pressure makes diamonds, right?
Come
That's
on.
right.
Pressure busts pipes because the pipe's trying to fight against the pressure.
Yes.
It makes diamonds because the soil is embracing the pressure,
Yes.
allowing it to change it. So
Yes.
let the pressure sharpen you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Don't bust like pipes. You're going to be a diamond.
Yes.
Yes, that's good.
And Sherilyn?
Well, I'm going to steal today. You guys send me your Zelle because I'm going to take from you. But Jay said, grow through what you go through.
Maurice said
Ronnie
that.
said, make your story your inspiration.
Yes.
And Mr. Martin said, you can't fix what you won't hold, accept it, or it will hold on to you. So I want to use that as my inspiration to pass back, because that was some good word today.
Yes, it was.
Yes. And if I can leave with anything, I love the word transparency.
Yes.
I love the fact that y'all are so encouraging. I stay encouraged. Like he said, lions, keep your chin up, your chest out. I love that part. If I could leave anybody with anything, stay encouraged, embrace it.
Yes.
Embrace the moment.
Yes. And one key thing that I listen to all of you say, it's or be intentional. Be intentional about change. Be intentional about making a difference in your life. So that's what I will leave our viewers about. Stay intentional. Stay in this moment.
Yes.
So, fellas, I just like to just give you another round of applause for just come on, bring in just some great wisdom to our viewers today, and just taking the time to come on the show. Just thank you so much for your time.
Yes.
Thank you. So,
thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you.
Thank y'all for having us.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Excellent.
All right. Well, until
Excellent.
our next episode, I just God bless all of you.
It's a divine connection.